the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Port Hueneme, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Thank you, first of all, for adjusting the schedule to do this today. I went up to the San Luis Obispo Comedy Festival this weekend. Super fun. Ended up getting best of the fest. Second time best of the fest. No big deal.
Noise.
Which led to me doing a show Sunday night at a big theater, which I'm about to get to. And then drove back after, got in super late Sunday night. Our only time frame for yesterday was super early. So it would have been like doing Dirty Sports on 4 hours of sleep. And not exactly any breaking news that had to be done yesterday morning. So thank you for Andy for adjusting it. But shout out to the one dirtball who was definitely in the crowd of the San Luis Obispo Performing Arts Center, a 2,000 seat theater on the campus of Cal Poly. When you do a huge theater like that, obviously I'm not Bert Kreischer or whoever. So I don't do a ton of huge theaters, but I've done a few big ones. It's always walking out on stage. It's always like a little off-putting. You don't just walk out and there's, comedy club with like 25 tables where you're spotting everybody. You're walking out to this huge thing. So I come out from behind, from the backstage area, and I'm walking to the mic, and somebody pretty close, I didn't spot them because, again, huge spotlight on you, pretty close, goes, "No, chill." And then I turn as I'm walking to the mic in the direction of the stage, in the direction that the yell had came from, and I kind of point, just assuming I'm pointing to the general area. And as I'm getting to the mic, the same person goes, "Rip Joanne." And I was like, that's officially a dirtball.
It's the same guy.
It's the same guy, yeah.
It's got to be the guy from San Francisco.
Oh, I wonder. What the guy who yelled out when we did Cobb's?
Yeah, because he was yelling "No chill," and he also was giving Joanne shout outs.
Yeah. This guy goes, "Rip Joanne." Literally right before I take the mic, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I love Joanne. Joanne is the GOAT. But the millisecond before I start doing stand-up comedy for 2,000 people, I didn't have to have a wave of, "Oh yeah, Andy's mom that passed away." That's I literally flash in my eyes of Joanne holding a Miller Lite, and I'm like, recalibrate. You got to do stand-up comedy for 2,000 people. So and you know what's funny is
that's a tough one. That's a tough one to come. Yeah, you're shouting at my dead mom, dude. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I was in the front of the theater after. They had to step and repeat, and they took a bunch of pictures of the best of the fest comics and whatever. Nobody came up to me. No one said anything. Didn't get a DM. I have no idea who you are. But safe to say you're a dirtball screaming "No chill" and "Rip Joanne" from what had to be unless this guy's voice was massive, he had to be in the front 5 rows of this theater.
Or it's just somebody who just loves to yell "No chill" and rip to just whatever, some Joanne who died.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a coincidence.
Maybe. So dirtball, if you're out there, reveal yourself.
No, don't. I think it's even funnier. I think you should go every time Prano performs. I think you should yell those same 2 things. Or just like some other random dirty sports stuff, like yell out like mastiff dog.
Are we going to talk about the mastiff dog thing today?
I forgot about that. Yeah, the dirtballs. You know, if you heard the crazy chick from Bumble that I had the wild July 4th weekend, whose ex-husband she caught jerking off a mastiff dog. I saw she's getting married. I didn't even know we were Facebook friends. What's crazy is I don't know why it popped up on my Facebook feed, but Monica's getting married. Hopefully she got sober. Look, what's crazy is
she marrying Chandler?
I don't know. I don't know who she's marrying, but
well, you do because it popped up on your Facebook feed.
well, I'm saying like it's not Chandler. I forget the guy's name. But did I go down a rabbit hole and look at his profile? Yeah, and look at hers for a split second. I did. And then I went back and literally she had a picture. I just started scrolling through her Facebook. And again, all these rabbit holes are when I'm like you feed the baby and then you got to like keep them upright, right? So it's like it's always the rocker. It's always like, "Oh, I'm in the rocker with my kid," which is kind of even more weird because it's like, "Whoa, you were back in the Andy Ruther days. Now I'm like holding my kid." But anyway, she does have a picture posted from that weekend when she visited me. Here's all it is. It's like it's July 2nd, 2017. Just a picture of Venice Beach.
Wild.
Yeah. Like, so that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost 7.5 years ago. And I mean, again, hopefully she got sober. If she didn't get sober, like, good luck, bro. Good luck.
I've had that same thought about a couple of different people in my life when I see they're like I wonder how that relationship is going. Is she sober or is it a disaster for that dude?
I mean, I will never forget that car ride. I think is that episode like I think it's ready to go, right? On Substack. I listened to most of it. It's ready to rock, I think. Just put it out on Substack. The episode where I tell the story about the chick.
Oh yeah, you got that together, right? And what you didn't post it?
Yeah, I forgot some life.
Oh yeah, let's go, Andy. We got to give the Substack folks that stuck around some benefits.
That's going up this week.
That's going up. That's going up tomorrow, baby.
Yeah, and again, there'll be a lot of other stuff in there. So like, it's just us talking sports, but that story, the whole 9 yards. And again, I who knows? Hopefully she got sober. But I told Prano, I was like, dude, I looked her up because she had like her age. She's 49, man. So I didn't realize. I guess I didn't realize at the time she was 6 years older than me. Good for her. Good for you, Monica.
Good for her. Good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you. Finding a man.
Good for
gonna
you.
Put up your shit. Not gonna jerk off your dog. Good for you. Speaking of Substack benefits, Andy, I've got to take a look at the schedule and keep my eye on the calendar, and try to adjust it. But I think what I'd like to do for our Substack devotees
is jerk off a mastiff dog live on Substack.
Is do a long live for opening day. Grill up a bunch of hot dogs for myself, slam a couple beers, just meander through opening day of baseball.
You might be the only one.
Because baseball's ratings and money is that one of our stories today?
Well, I just like I've been reading a lot on it, and you're just like, well, we talked about it with the whole ESPN thing and the backing out. You just don't see that with the sports league, and it's just sad, man. But
it turns out they haven't gotten woke enough, Andy. The NBA with a $26 billion thing or whatever it is.
Well, I see. I'm not even going to acknowledge the pushing the goalpost and all that bullshit because it's just stupid.
The what? The pushing the goalposts
of like, oh, it's fucking. They're going to regret this deal. Well, cool. It's a 10-year deal, or whatever the NBA signed. Like, oh, ESPN, all of them are going to regret it. Like,
but like, why would they regret it? Did they regret the last one, or did they get to this new one and fucking triple down?
Well, look, I think, to be honest, I think that we can discuss MLB, but that leads right into the Channing Frye video and the LeBron discussion,
Yeah, absolutely.
because that's the real discussion, that the meat of what I want to have on this show. We got calls about it. Appreciate the calls, guys. We're like, I'm not going to play your calls just because I had already planned to talk about it, because there's a lot to what LeBron was saying too, which it's always interesting to me. We live in this age, and I always bitch about it. It's like, it's not one or the other. There's nuance. There's
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I saw the thing. Didn't think it would make. I didn't think it was going to cause like this like conversation. And then I was listening to Simmons and Ryan Russillo talk about it, and they had a take, and Simmons had a take, and Simmons' take wasn't wrong, but I have what he missed, I think, in
okay.
that
Well,
conversation.
why don't I do this? Why don't I, to catch everybody up to speed who didn't see it last week?
Anyway, but let's just go back to the baseball thing
Yeah,
for a
go
second.
for it. Go for it.
I mean, maybe spray paint and racism in center field. Maybe Dominican Lives Matter. I'm just saying, have you guys thought about going woker? Because baseball's the one that didn't. Baseball's the one that didn't do it, and it's like, go woke.
They did move an all-star game from Atlanta.
Right, go woke, never go broke. Remember that. I'm writing a book about it. It's going to be on, outkickyourpunter.com. Go woke, never go broke. The story of how the NBA's BLM shirts saved the league.
Well, I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't take that side either. I would just take the side of like the fact that they didn't go.
Oh, Andy, wait, hold on. You're not going to use a very small sample size of information to make an entire bold claim about geopolitics, racism, TV deals, and stock prices. That's kind of crazy, Andy. That's kind of the name of the game these days. Find one small piece of information, take it completely out of context, and build your entire brand around it. So anyway, welcome to Joe Prano's outkickyoubitchtits.com. The website for men who don't have man boobs, where we say, go woke, never go broke. The NBA and the story of how they became multi-billionaires with BLM t-shirts. It's a new book.
Well, obviously you're being sarcastic, but my take again on all this, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, it's like the money deals are only increasing. Not in baseball right now. Like that's the thing. Like that's what's important. You can argue all you want whether any deal is worth it. I don't know. But
here's the situation with ESPN. If you don't have live sports, what are you? So like you can talk about the value that returns to you, or you could just zero out your company and be like, we are the worldwide leader in sports. We don't show sports. So the idea of we have to make back every dollar we spend broadcasting the NBA or Major League Baseball or the NFL or NASCAR or whatever is crazy, because you're selling ads on shows on your network that aren't the NBA broadcast because you're talking about the NBA. Why is anybody going to your network to watch those shows if you're not in their channel favorites because you have all the games? Like getting out, they have to be in the live sports business at literally any cost, or just shut the whole thing down.
Well, again, it's going to be interesting who's going to fill that void when it comes to Major League Baseball. And I've seen things that say there's a lot of optimism, or Rob Manfred has a lot of optimism, and this is kind of, before he leaves as a commissioner, this is kind of the way to put the stamp on his tenure. And it's like, you guys can say all that, and I'm sure somebody will. I'm sure an Amazon, Apple already has Friday night baseball. I'm sure somebody will pick up that contract. But like we are kind of just across the media in general, we are in a transitional period, so to speak.
Rob Manfred should leave the commissioner's office in a box. Somebody's got to, as I've said, Luigi Mangione him so we can save baseball.
I mean, look, baseball definitely has a lot of deeper issues connected to all this with no salary cap. And that kind of plays into it, because then what you have, as we know, is you have a city like New York or Los Angeles, and they have these major regional local TV deals, which the other leagues don't really have to worry about for their games because they play 162 games, right? So you take a market like Cincinnati, they're not making shit to play Reds games or Pirates or Baltimore Orioles. Pick a small market. It's like, I don't know what they're gonna do, and they've talked about some sort of better revenue sharing, and there's all these different ideas. But if you're with the Yankees or the Mets or the Dodgers or the Braves, it's like, why do you want to take less to throw money to the Pittsburgh Pirates?
It's amazing. And I talk about this shit in politics all the time, in sports all the time. Like, the simplest fixes ever, but no one will fucking do it because they're kowtowing to these fucking networks that spit in their face every chance they get. Or these, like, how about this? Be a 40-year-old guy who's finally done partying. Your policy should be no blackouts. Major League, again, focus on modernization. Look at the NBA. It's all about fucking social media. Worry about modernization and worry about keeping the fans that you already have. How about this? Buy 10 tickets to your local team for the year. Buy 10 games worth of tickets to your local team, discounted price on MLB at Bat. You get all the games at a discounted price, no blackouts. Boom. There I go. Fucking 5-second description on how to start saving baseball. You like baseball? Show me you like baseball by buying tickets to games. You're going to take your friends. You're going to take your family. You're going to support the league in person, which is number one, most important thing. 2, now we're going to get more of your money by having you sign up for the app to watch all the games, no blackouts. And if I have to run into a New York City high rise with a ski mask on and a 3D printed gun and put it in Rob Manfred's mouth to stop baseball from going under as a professional sports league, I will do it.
I mean, again, they're
reports coming out of New York today. Rob Manfred shot outside the MLB offices. The bullets had inscribed on it, no blackouts.
Savage. Look, man, baseball is again, it's trying to juggle a few things, but I agree that there's a lot of easy fixes on all this stuff. It's we talked about greed and we talk about owners a lot, especially with the NFL, and it's like, easy fix, guys. How many times are we gonna say it? Do more dollar hot dog nights. Do more $2 beer nights. What did somebody just tell me? Somebody just told me they knew one of the restaurants that I do social content for. They said, what did he say that the Bengals would? What did he say that the Bengals? He knew the guy who used to handle the beer down where the Bengals play, down at Paycor now. Anyway, basically something we already knew. It's like the markup on like a bottle was it was like they're seeing like over 100% return on per beer sold at these stadiums.
Oh,
probably more.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think no joke. If you're selling a draft beer,
With draft, definitely, it's insane.
if you're selling a draft beer, I bet you make 1,200% on your thing. Like you're selling a beer that costs you $1 for 18.
Yeah,
That cup's costing you almost as much as the beer.
sure. And again, these are easy fixes, and it's just like, and I'll be honest, I do blame fans to a degree, which would probably include myself, because we put up with it.
But in this day and age, with all of the things that are out there to consume, just entrusting or resting on your laurels or expecting your fans to seek you out to support your sport is insane. You have to get yourself in front of people. We've been talking about it for, I mean, honestly, the entirety of the history of dirty sports. Try putting a clip from a Major League Baseball game on your social media. You're done.
Well, I think it's changed now, right?
It's barely changed. It's not like a strike you're out situation. But I mean, we're talking about 2 seasons ago that pitching ninja was like getting violations. And so you have to make it easy. Like, people are rabble. Oh, the NFL doesn't have to do it. Cool. You're not the NFL. And guess what? The NFL bends over backwards. There is nothing easy about playing games in London or playing games in Mexico City or playing games in Brazil. There's nothing easy about it. It is at a cost to the league, the teams, the players to expand the game. And the NFL does it, even though it's probably not. They could easily sit back and be like, we just dominate America and fuck the rest of the world. Meanwhile, Major League Baseball does the complete opposite. We owned the U.S., but fuck it. We don't give a shit. Let's let this dominance slip out of our hands. Baseball is going to be in a little fucking shack with boxing and horse racing soon, of like, back in the day, Americans cared about these things.
Well, look, I think you talk about the important thing for growth. You have to get the youth. You have to get the dads with their sons and their daughters or whoever. When you lose that, then it's tradition, right? You don't repeat that. Then, well, I wasn't really into baseball with my dad, so then I'm not into it.
How many times have I talked about it? Yeah,
my son or daughter, and I think that's
if you literally sold the MLB TV ticket package, if Rob Manfred made you have to buy tickets to every month of the season, one set of tickets in every month of the season, and you get all the games free on digital. There is no way you're a dad and you take your 9-year-old boy to a baseball game April, May, June. Maybe we take off July because we went on summer vacation. We sold our tickets. August, September, October. And he has the ability to watch all those games at home on his fucking iPad. I just built you a baseball fan that is going to make the whole thing continue. You want to just be like, we need new fans. Let's put up a net and have shot clocks, and the Savannah Bananas are going to be put in the NL West. Like, you just kiss the game goodbye.
Look, a lot of these things have long-term consequences, for good or bad. There's just a lack of foresight, and that's the problem with the NFL. Or I'm sorry, with Major League Baseball. Whereas, like the NFL, when they left DirecTV for Sunday Ticket, They go to YouTube TV, which
Yep.
right is the newer thing, and you can put multiple games. You can put 4 games on your screen.
Amazon's got Thursday. Netflix has Christmas.
It's like it's convenient. Everybody has it.
Where do you consume baseball? On AM radio.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Major League Baseball. You're stuck in the dark ages, man. I'm a caveman, and the rest of the world's on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like
I'm listening to a game from 2 weeks ago on my phonograph.
Like when I grew up, you didn't get all the local Reds games. That's just how it was on TV because those TV deals didn't exist. And I did listen to games on the radio all the time. All the time. It's like they never it's like baseball never grew up out of that. It's bizarre. Right? Like you just I don't get it. They never grew out of it, man. And that's kind of where they're at now. And again, I think the salary cap kind of ties into all that.
100%.
Ties into everything.
You have to have parity so that people don't bail the second their season starts. They go to one game. I went to opening week baseball game and forever.
It's got to be convenient, especially to the young kids. It's got to be convenient and accessible. And you know how it is. I mean, these kids, dude, I give my 2-year-old daughter the iPad. She basically knows what she's doing. Oh, I click on this. I gotta, that's like, it's like you gotta have it. If you have problems with an app or it's not accessible, good luck. Especially like you're talking about with social media. That's what's been so good for the NBA, and we'll kind of hop into that right now. Is they leaned so hard into social media. The NFL does too. Now, the NBA has the most YouTube subscribers. They have great social presence. Guys, it's all that matters.
They market their players.
So, like, we had a call with Gold Star. We had a few calls with the WWE last year that I was on. I mean, Joe, that's their pitch. It's an easy pitch. Hey, we want to do some regional stuff with some regional restaurants, like a Gold Star, who has 60 restaurants in 3 states.
We've done some market research, and the people that like gay play fighting also like spaghetti covered chili. Chili covered spaghetti.
They didn't say that, but it would have made me laugh if they did. But my point is, they send a deck over to us before these Zoom calls. But I'm bringing it back to the NBA because it's like when someone says to me, "How did Netflix pay all that money for WWE and Raw?" Dude, the numbers are there. I have the deck that the WWE sends, right? They're headquartered in New York. Dude, their numbers don't lie.
Connecticut, I think.
What's that?
Stanford, Connecticut, I think.
I think they're in New York. No. But my point is like, you like I read that and I go, oh wow, that reach is insane. And the same thing you can do with the NBA, and you're like, oh, so I don't have to watch every game. I can watch highlights. I can hop on social media. I can go watch recaps. I mean, here's what's interesting about the NBA, and I think this will be kind of a fun segue because these guys are the old heads. I live with somebody who literally is on Instagram all the time watching NBA on TNT. She knows enough about the NBA just from those guys. Now, granted, she's watching because she thinks they're like God's gift to comedy, and I'm like, okay, these guys are funny, but like, just chill over here. Like, it's not that funny. Brittany, by the way, is obsessed with NBA on TNT, and she's obsessed with Gronk.
I love this.
Like, no lie. She thinks Gronk, and she's right. She's like, he's such a buffoon. He's so funny. Like, obsessed.
I mean, what does it say about Andy Ruther? Like, she basically, like, the funniest thing to her is buffoon comedy. She's like Gronk, Shaq, Chuck.
Yeah.
She just wants to be surrounded by guys going, oh, terrible.
I don't know why she's with me because I don't think she finds me that funny. So it's like, I'm being serious. So like, I don't know. But LeBron was responding post game to something that Anthony Edwards said about not wanting to be the face of the league. And then he was calling back what Channing Frye said on a podcast. And it's important to hear all this because I think it's like everything nowadays, people don't even know what people are going off and having an opinion on LeBron. And it's like, okay, you can't really have an opinion on what LeBron's saying until you watch what Channing Frye said or hear what exactly he said. It's very important. This is what Channing Frye said again on I forget, but it was on a podcast.
Is killing the NBA. The 90s basketball, Michael Jordan and Kobe, was not as clean as y'all think it was. Y'all forget that Jordan left the league for 2 years. Y'all forget that Kobe, rest in peace, quit on his team in the playoffs and did not shoot the basketball. So all this Kobe, Jordan, oh, he's not this, he's not that. That is propaganda. Every great player, whether that's Ant, Wemby, Bron, Steph, this, that. They compare him to a motherfucker 40 years ago. The rules weren't even the same. You're not really watching help side defense. Who's doing this? What is this rule? What is that rule? You're not watching. Nobody celebrates these new people. So why the fuck would anybody want to be the face of this league where you're going to get shitted on every network for not being somebody from 40 fucking years ago? It's ridiculous. It is unfair. Bron is one of the greatest players ever to play. Stephen Curry is one of the greatest players ever to play. Giannis is one of the great. Jokic. And you know what we do? We talk about fucking Michael Jordan. All this superstar era shit is over. The card cap called a second apron, it's over. Teams are going to take over.
I mean, it's literally like he has been watching our show for the last, I don't know how many years. Like, what did he say that was wrong here?
What in the world would I possibly have an issue with? This is like you said, Joe Prano's been standing on this business since fucking the 2000s. Like this is pre LeBron going to Miami and fucking dominating. I've been standing on this the whole time. I was an anti-Kobe guy before there was a LeBron to defend about the anti-Kobe situation. Like, you guys love to fucking it's all propaganda.
It is propaganda.
It's all hoisting up some narrative for you to sell fucking Nikes. It's all bullshit. And I had a conversation with a guy at Slowfest the other day. He's like, to me, it's Michael Jordan 1, Kobe 2. I go, just stop right now. I was like, you don't want to do this with me. You're a fucking casual. I'll just you don't want the next 90 minutes that I'm about to serve you. If you think Kobe Bryant's the second best player of all time behind Michael Jordan, you are the most susceptible to propaganda. And Channing Frye's absolutely right. And here's the thing. Basketball does such a great job of hoisting up their players, but yet again, the media insists on taking down these players. And like I said, I listened to Bill Simmons talk about this, and if you want, I can get into what he said and what he missed out on. The issue with, and this is the truth of the matter is, he was saying they've always done this. Michael Jordan couldn't win until he did. Oh, he's shooting the ball too much until
he's full of shit. That's a bad take.
But also he went through from the beginning of the league till whatever. And he said, the media said this, the media said that, the media said this. Yeah. Guess what? This isn't about the media. This isn't about Mike Lupica or Bob Ryan or Skip Bayless even, or Shannon Sharp even, or Nick Wright even, or Colin Cowherd even, or anyone who is a TV, radio, internet talking head. This is about the fact that the entirety of online conversation about the NBA is driven by former players on Inside the NBA, on ESPN, on FS1, on the 5,000 podcasts that are called Two Guys Who Used to Play in the NBA and a Black Comedian You've Never Heard of. Every former player, for the most part, with, a handful of exceptions, is stuck in that thing. And it's like, Charles Barkley, you didn't win shit but won NBA fucking MVP. You're embarrassing yourself now. Shaquille O'Neal, dominant player. You're embarrassing yourself now. Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant's 2000 Lakers would get fucking blown out by the Detroit Pistons right now. Blown out. They'd lose by 75 points. You're embarrassing yourselves and guess what you're doing? All Kobe Bryant is, all Shaq is, all Charles Barkley is, all Kenny Smith is, all any of these guys are. All they are is former NBA players. And you are tearing down your own legacy by attacking your own league because your ego won't allow that LeBron James' entire lineage is a better athlete than you.
So, I agree. And I think, and we've said this countless times. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, and I always make this point. What always baffles me is you just don't get this in other sports, especially football. Like you don't get the, now people say, oh, you could hit harder. And of course, no shit. You could decapitate a quarterback.
The way,
but the conversation is never around that.
Baseball guys are, and whatever is.
And the former players aren't like that.
But guess
They're not
what?
like that.
The former players in the NBA didn't used to be like this. Magic Johnson called NBA on NBC. Isaiah Thomas called NBA on NBC. Bill Walton called NBA on NBC. These guys were going. Isaiah Thomas, who Michael Jordan fucking hated, who kept Michael Jordan off the Dream Team, would go on NBC and suck off Michael Jordan on air. The greatest guy we've ever seen. Magic Johnson, there's Mike. That's just Mike doing Mike things. Like, there was a time, it got to the point where the crossover of, it's honestly, here's the worst part. It's all LeBron's fault. It's all Kevin Durant's fault. It's all Steph Curry's fault. These guys know. Charles Barkley knows. Charles Barkley goes to sleep at night knowing the Kevin Durant Warriors would have swept his Phoenix Suns in a 70-game series. Best to 36, they lose 36-0. You are nowhere close to the level of skill and talent that these guys have, and it fucking breaks you.
And look, man, again, we've had this point of view for so long, and the propaganda, there's just no other way to put it when it comes to the discussions with fans, and you see it across politics as well all the time. You could be presented with all this evidence about a subject. I mean, in my opinion, it's mental illness. All this evidence.
It's not mental illness. It's lying. That's what makes all of these people bad people. That goes back to what the show started with. Clay Travis saying the NBA went broke because it went woke when they just signed the big. He's lying to people. He knows the facts and he's lying.
Okay, well his instance,
Charles Barkley is lying that LeBron James couldn't play against Bill Laimbeer. He's getting on TV. He's sitting down. He's tightening his tie, and he's lying to your fucking face.
Now, look, I have no problem when we talk about personalities lying because that's their cash cow.
I have all of the problem with it.
But
it makes you a piece of shit sellout.
No. I'm not justifying. What I'm saying is, I think those people are different than the common person. That's why I said mental illness. I agree. I think those people are deliberately lying to make money. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is the person who's the plumber who
is just dumb and believes lies.
But I think that's what I'm saying. My point is, even when presented with evidence, I think there is some sort of mental, I don't know if it's an illness or deficiency, and we'll continue to side by that. And we've said, how many times when we say it, the propaganda of Nike and Gatorade and Hanes and Jordan, and look, it did wonders. It did wonders for the game. It took it next level. The Dream Team made it a global sport, made all these other countries want to get better, and they started producing all these amazing players. But it's true. Like I don't understand why it's. I mean, I do. I'm explaining why, but it's the only sport, dude. You watch a game. You watch a Troy Aikman Monday Night Football game. He's literally going, man, can you see what these guys are doing? Like he's not sitting there being all critical. Now, of course they're going to say things like, yeah, well, you can do a lot more offensively. Like they're aware of that. Cause again, like Channing Frye said, the rules do change in all these leagues, the parameters around it, but like, it's exhausting. And I agree with him. Now I want to play the LeBron clip because to me, that's like almost a different conversation. It's part of it, but it's also different. So this is like what LeBron said, which started this whole discussion.
I already said he don't want it.
I know.
Yeah, he ain't trying to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, Channing Frye said it the other day too. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but like, I don't know. Why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis shit on everybody? I mean, that responsibility. It's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know. But Channing, he said it. He said it perfectly. Couldn't have said it no better. But Ant said he don't want it. I mean, obviously, I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. Not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So. I've always taken that seriously and understood from the beginning what being a professional was all about and being a role model was all about. So try to hold that with the utmost respect and honor. And but I feel Ant. I understand. I completely understand. This is weird energy when it comes to that. So.
Last question.
So I'm gonna start off here. A few things. There's a fair amount here I disagree with LeBron on as far as himself. You did want it, LeBron. Like, you deemed yourself King James. You have chosen one tattooed. You chose 23. You chose to do a remake of what's the movie?
Oh, yeah. Space Jam.
Like you chose this. So don't act like you didn't want this, LeBron. That's where I definitely disagree with him. And to be honest, like, I think he's almost he just wants to say what Channing said, like, dude, just own it. Just say, yeah, this is bullshit. Like, he's being a little too PC for me there. It's like, just own it. So like, but again, this is my point before we got into this, where I was saying there's nuance. I can say, look, LeBron, I think you chose all this. But I also think the microscope you're under and how people treat you as far as your play is also fucking ridiculous. Like, to me, both can be true. The old heads are obnoxious. They're annoying. But you also, like, you did want to be the face, which is fine. But please don't tell me you didn't want to be the face of the league, especially with in his particular instance. both can be true. Like, you chose Nike, you chose all those things. I think personally, and I'd be curious what you think about this. I think LeBron, in a way, if you look back on it, if he did things, I don't know, maybe a little differently with all that, with, again, the 23 and the Nike and the Jordan, maybe it's not the same, but maybe it is. As far as the comparison, the nonstop, everybody's always going to be compared to Jordan because he's the best. Now, I don't know how the NFL, is that always going to be Tom Brady now? I don't know, but that's kind of how this all got started. And again, he's not wrong with the old heads, which then creeps into social media, and he's soft. He's 45. Look at his numbers. Like I'm just going to say this. Nobody realizes. Everybody needs to stop for a minute and realize what he's doing at 40.
Well, again, you see, this is where you get into stupidity and propaganda and people lying to you. Channing Frye just said, Jordan quit. Jordan quit basketball twice. Facts. Factually. Quit basketball twice. Propaganda, his dad died. He told his dad he was quitting before his dad died. That's out there. It's out there. He decided to play baseball because his dad died and his dad loved baseball. He told his dad he was quitting before he quit. He quit a second time because they were breaking up the Bulls. He didn't want to play without Phil. He didn't want to play without Scotty. Facts. He quit. Channing Frye said Kobe Bryant refused to play. Kobe Bryant refused to shoot the ball. He quit on his team. So you have two guys, factually. One guy quit twice. One guy quit in a game. LeBron's nickname is LaQuit.
Little bitch, little flop.
It's propaganda.
For sure.
And it's the same thing. I hate to keep going back to politics, but I think that a lot of these sports networks, Fox Sports 1, obviously related, ESPN, even though, because you're essentially you're news, but for sports. They saw what was happening in 24-hour news coverage with CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and said, we have to do that. We have to create storylines where there are no storylines. And we have to divide people. So it's Jordan versus LeBron. So it's Kobe versus LeBron. So it's all those things. But the fact of the matter is, those media outlets lie to you, and they have facts and they ignore them to push their agenda that's going to make them money.
Sure. Yeah, I don't disagree at all with that. The divide, like that system, clearly is what's making money for all the politics and all the different networks. Like you said, one's conservative, one's more liberal, one's this, one's that. It is the same thing. Because what's going to happen? They're going to take your clip from First Take or whatever stupid jerk off show, and then you're going to put it on Twitter, and you're going to put it on TikTok, and you're going to put it on Instagram. And then people like us are going to talk about it, and it's like we're part of the cog. I'm not going to deny that. We're part of the cog that talks about it.
But my agenda isn't to push, like, again, this is what I always say to everybody. When I was arguing with this guy at the bar the other night at the Slow Comedy Fest, he's wearing a Lakers hat and Kobe's 2 all time. And he goes, "Oh, dude, I can't believe you're saying this. I got Jason over here. I was just talking to Jason about it. LeBron or Michael 1, LeBron 2. I was like, Jason's from Chicago. I'm a New York Knicks fan who hates Carmelo Anthony more than anyone's ever hated any basketball player in the history of the world. I have LeBron James went to the Heat. LeBron James has openly and actively said, essentially, without saying, I would have signed with the Knicks, but they're an embarrassing franchise. I am not doing a propaganda for LeBron James for any other reason than it's so fucking obvious he's the best basketball player that's ever fucking lived. And to go back to the conversation about politics, it's the same thing that happens is what these two sides do. Everything they promote is a cover up for something they're doing. It's all a projection. LeBron could never have played in our day. This is you projecting about why you couldn't win in your day. Every 90s basketball head that stands Michael Jordan, they have to put him on this unattainable level of greatness to justify why they didn't win. No one will ever have beaten Michael Jordan. It's not that I wasn't good enough to beat Michael Jordan. It's that he is a mythical figure. No one could beat him. No one could ever. It doesn't matter the team that you had. You're not beating Ron Harper, Luke Longley, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Michael Jordan. No, it doesn't. You could put together a dream team. You would never beat them. Because Charles Barkley and every other guy like him needs to justify why they couldn't do it. It's a projection.
The question I have is at some point, does any of this tide turn when people die? The people like us who grew up in the Jordan era, who watched it. Does it change is my question. But I already see it firsthand. I've talked about it. Like, I have a nephew who's a 7th grader.
Because of the propaganda.
Who is like diehard Jordan, and he has been since The Last Dance came out 5 years ago, because my sister-in-law is like obsessed with that documentary, obsessed with Jordan. And I'm like, okay. Like, and obviously I'm not going to have like in-depth arguments with my nephew.
Goes back to the baseball thing. Get your children to participate in something, and whether it's right or wrong, interesting or not, they will buy in.
It's it's just sad that again, we can't. You can debate anything you want about the game or the threes or the traveling and the defense, like whatever. That's fine. That's fair game. But what's disappointing as a sports fan is this conversation. And he nailed. I mean, Channing Frye nailed it. Like, we're still. I love. I don't think until you hear it, when he says 40 fucking years ago, and you're like, and again, there is a crossover with politics. That's how I feel about a lot of this stuff. I go, cool, dude, we did this 40 fucking years ago. It's 2025 or X, Y, and Z. We can reevaluate things. We can look at things, but the conversation constantly, it's exhausting, man. You don't see that. Like I feel Tom Brady's obviously discussed a lot, but Joe, he just retired a few years ago. I just, when we're talking about great quarterbacks in the league, of course, like when Mahomes discussion, Brady's gonna be brought. But do you see what I'm saying? Like when Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow, nobody's like Tom Brady. Like, they just
don't. Here, what's amazing?
They just don't do that right away.
You know what's amazing about the Tom Brady or whoever? This is all actually runoff of Michael Jordan propaganda. The Michael Jordan propaganda is his rings. Now, that's where the propaganda, that's where the post Michael Jordan career propaganda is built out of.
Which then went to Kobe.
Right.
For sure.
But we didn't do this before. This wasn't a pre-Jordan, because
you're right.
Bill Russell has 11.
Yeah, Bill Russell.
No one was talking about it.
Nobody.
Terry Bradshaw.
4.
All the time.
Yeah.
Back to back. Twice. 4. He's not considered in the top 50 quarterbacks of all time. Why? Because the thing that they have to use to defend Michael Jordan, they created it to defend Michael Jordan. They created it to defend the Jordan brand and Nike and the whole thing. It's all a creation to do that. And now that is why Tom Brady's the GOAT, because he has the most Super Bowls. Was the guy before him who had the most Super Bowls the GOAT? Was it Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw tied for first? No. And why was Joe Montana considered better than Terry Bradshaw? Because he did it in a more modern era? Yeah, no fucking shit.
Yeah.
Why was Michael Jordan's 6 more valuable than Bill Russell's 11? Because he did it in a more modern era? Yeah, no fucking shit. Michael Jordan was better than Bill Russell. Everybody that watched 90s basketball would see clips shown during their championship runs of Bill Russell basketball and go, yeah, okay, he could have won 40. Who cares? That's not this. And that is the same way I feel about it across sports today. And the great ones that are comfortable with their legacy always admit it. Ted Williams goes, never faced a cutter, dude. So, yeah, I hit 409 or whatever, but I didn't face a cutter.
And maybe you really tapped into something as far as to kind of bring it into a psychological level, the ego of just for some reason, the ego of former NBA players is way more sensitive than former baseball or former football players. I mean, to me, that's the difference.
There's also this, it serves one another. There's also the modern fan. Michael Jordan was the first player ever that got hoisted above his team. And now the NBA is, and I'll just say it, and I know you're going to fucking roll your eyes and people are going to call me out for it and whatever, but it's like the truth is in the player empowerment era bothers people because it's black guys. It's empowered black guys. That's what it is.
Who do you think it bothers?
The guys who say, I preferred basketball when it was 75-75 and Bill Laimbeer could fucking elbow you in the face. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You liked fucking the fact that
white dudes?
What? Not just white. It wasn't even about the white dudes. I'll watch black guys. Just don't let me hear their opinions. Michael Jordan said, conservatives buy sneakers too. Michael Jordan never used his platform to push any agenda whatsoever. When white athletes do that, white fans don't care. When black athletes do that, white fans get angry.
Do you think
shut up and dribble?
Well, give me like a white athlete who like is like pushing an agenda.
I mean, off the top of my head, I have no idea. I'm sure, but fucking Harrison Butker.
Well, we gotta get somebody better than a kicker. I guess my question is,
my point is the shut up and dribble crowd did not tell him to shut up and kick.
Do you think? I'm trying to think how to phrase this here. It's like, do you think that is the same across sports too?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think the person who's like shut up and dribble feels the same way when a black athlete is open about a social or political issue in football?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. I just didn't know if you thought it was more of a basketball thing.
No, I think it's a basketball thing because in the NBA, here's the thing, and I truly believe this. It enrages a certain subsection of our population that is very vocal right now that LeBron James makes 5 times what Tom Brady made. Do you know what I'm saying? The NBA, the 7th. I mean, I've heard it before. The 10th guy on the bench makes more than fucking Travis Kelce. Yeah. Okay. What's your point, dude? Why does that make you so mad? That there's 12 guys on an NBA team. There's 52 guys on a football team. Why does it make you so mad that the 11th guy on a bench makes $4 million? Why do you care? The millionaires complaining. Okay.
Yeah,
Why does that piss you off?
we talk about it with when they do the NFLPA. I've never understood the millionaires complaining. You know, like I don't think that all argument holds up in my opinion. It definitely doesn't. I just don't.
I mean, I said it to, Jeannie Buss when she did Jay's show. They talked all about his rehab and whatever. And I was like, can I ask some basketball questions? And he was like, all right, fine. And I was like, are you like in touch to the fact that the people who spend their day attacking the NBA line up in a certain way politically? The people that spend their day going out of their way to say the NBA sucks and here's why,
Are more prone to vote Republican.
I was like, are you just hip to that? Are you aware of that? Because it's so like Allen Iverson's not out there going, NBA is going broke because it's going woke. People who don't watch or care about the NBA are saying that. And if you don't care about it, why are you talking about it? We don't give it, like, how many times is the words UFC came up on the show in 11 years? How many times have we talked about NASCAR? We've talked about soccer during the World Cup with like a gun to our head. We bring on a Canadian fucking train engineer to talk hockey.
Shout out to Ryan Klatt. You the best. You the GOAT.
We don't care. Why are you spending all day saying the league sucks? It's not interesting. I don't care about it. Here's why it's terrible. Here's why LeBron needs to shut up. Here's what's wrong with their league. You don't watch it. Why are you so hell-bent on taking it down?
Well, I think, in general, we live in that age just because of social media. So like everybody now has a voice. So everybody can vent, can bitch, can share, for lack of a better term, a shitty opinion.
Yeah, but the question is why are you desperate to share that opinion?
Well, look, I think
and then this goes to the next step of what LeBron's talking about. Why? Here's the real fucking nut of the whole thing. Why aren't the people who are on the other side of that line riding and dying for it? Why isn't Shaq and Charles Barkley and all these guys, why aren't they the opposition to back in my day when black guys weren't allowed to give their opinions, the game was better? Why aren't you the opposition to that? Why aren't you protecting your league? Why aren't you protecting the legacy that came after you? Where's the fucking, I talked about Ted Williams before. Where's the Ted Williams, Tony Gwynn sitting in a batter's box on two fucking chairs talking hitting? Why is LeBron James sitting with Charles Barkley unheard of? Why is Michael Jordan and LeBron James sitting together unheard of? Tony Gwynn and fucking Ted Williams did this multiple times. But Michael Jordan wouldn't do it because Michael Jordan's selfish and cares about himself and doesn't care on promoting the game and doesn't care about talking about the intricacies of it and doesn't care. He's trying to sell shoes.
Well, look, and that's fine. He can do what he wants.
But LeBron's right. The people have turned the most important people to selling the league are actively not selling the league.
Well, here's what's interesting. You bring up NBA and TNT. right? We bring up Shaq, and in particular Shaq and Charles Barkley, because they're the stars of that. It's like they're a thing in their own right. I just said my fiance, like, she's not watching Lakers games, dude. She's not watching the league, but she's watching that. So I think, to answer your question, why not? I think those guys know they're a thing, man. Nothing, Joe. You can't bring another sport into it where you have a show that's its own. You know what I'm saying?
But it's also been a show for 20 years.
No, look. But by the way,
we always agreed at NBA and TNT, inside the NBA was the preeminent sports
100%.
show.
100%.
But only now have they become haters of the game.
Yeah. But by the way, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm trying to say is I'm just trying to understand it. And my point is, you can't pull up an NFL roundtable show and be like, it's on the level of NBA on TNT, is my point. Of like, people want to watch that, and you're right. And people do. And we talk about social media. Dude, it gets clicks on Twitter and Instagram. And you're right. So if they're spewing the back in my day old head bullshit, then everybody buys into that.
Yeah.
Because it's propaganda that's just not true. And then the person who watches that goes, "Oh, yeah, dude. LeBron doesn't hold a candle to any of these guys." Or Kobe. I mean, we talk about, dude, they still do it. Charles Barkley has Kobe in his top 5. Dude, you're insane. You're literally, the guy never won a single playoff series without a big man. You're insane. He was hated. He was absolutely hated. But like Jordan, he followed Jordan, and he was like, here's my brand. Nike, Sprite, Mamba mentality, all that shit brainwashes people. And then you read a few books on the guy, and you're like, wow, this is how it really went down? They don't want to remember the summer that I moved to LA, summer of 2007. They don't want to remember when Kobe was demanding a trade. Right. And he almost went to the Bulls. Yep. Nobody remembers that. Nobody wants to remember he said, I'm done, because Shaq left and they sucked.
They don't want to remember that Mamba mentality, who's always going to work harder than anyone could ever work, limped out of basketball because his body gave up on him. Meanwhile, LeQuit has kept his body in shape to the point where he is dominating the NBA at over 40.
Yeah.
I need the LeBitch gene so that I can be in the best shape of my life at 45.
So, that's what bothers me the most, is that when Brady was doing it, everybody, including myself, was like, holy shit, dude. You're putting up insane numbers. You're winning a Super Bowl in your 40s. And then LeBron's doing it. And LeBron's defense has really stepped up this year. It's like a younger version. There's just not that same appreciation, because everybody wants to talk about load management and everything else that's negative. And you just say, just come on, dude. Come on, man. Like, LeBron is in my wheelhouse, man. We were in high school at the same time. Like, the thought of just doing what he's doing, why can't we give him
it's always a projection. Michael Jordan load managed full seasons. He took off full seasons. Seasons. Not season. Seasons. Retirements. Not retirement. He didn't come back from retirement. He came back from retirements. It's all projection. It's always projection.
I just hate that. And we're guilty of it. And you obviously you'll do it, but it's like, I don't even in a way want to compare if this team stepped on the field with this team or this team stepped on the field with this court, because it's like, in a way, it's apples to oranges. But again, the NBA is the only one we do that. We don't sit there and go, oh my God. Now, if one of these Chiefs teams had to face the 85 Bears, if Refrigerator Perry,
Patrick Mahomes would leave on a stretcher.
Oh my God, Mike Singletary would absolutely light up Patrick Mahomes. We don't do that. But for some reason, the NBA, we're like, hey man, that Bull squad where Steve Kerr was like a clutch guy off the bench. I mean, like again, Steve Kerr's. I don't even know if he's in the fucking G League now. It's like in the modern era. It's like, and that's not to take anything away from Steve Kerr because he had some clutch moments. But the point is, we only do this with basketball. We only do this. We don't do this with other sports. We don't, dude. Go watch a baseball game. Do you hear John Smoltz talk about these modern pitchers?
Yeah.
He gives nothing but praise and acknowledgement. But basketball, for some reason, fucking.
And then here's also let me tell you, I'm not gonna start a whole thing, but I'll just say this. I used to work with someone, for someone, whatever, who it's like, there's also the people, there's something about sports where like men. They want to be sports fans, but they're not. They're not sports fans, right? You and I are sports fans, but you're also like you don't watch baseball.
Yeah.
You don't watch whatever. There's a lot of sports fans out there. I would say this is the majority of the conversations I have is with guys who are cosplaying as sports fans. They're cosplaying as sports fans. They don't really watch sports because, again, not to throw shade, they're too busy watching 20 hours of conspiracy videos on YouTube. So they can't talk about the league today. So they go back and they talk about how Michael Jordan's the GOAT because they used to watch sports. When SportsCenter was the only thing on, they knew sports. Now they're too busy talking about the world being flat, and they can't keep up with what's going on in the NBA. So Michael Jordan's the GOAT, and that's where it ends. Just say you don't watch anymore because you're not really a sports fan. It doesn't have to be, I stopped watching because of this. You stopped watching because you're not really that into sports. And that's okay. There's a lot of different things these days. It's not 1975. You're not either a sports guy or a car guy or a whatever guy. You can be a casual sports fan. Not enough casual sports fans own that. I'm a casual sports fan. I watch a little bit. I like this. I don't really care for that. We say it all the time. We don't care for hockey or boxing or UFC. People even say to me, you cover what happens on Dirty Sports? You cover all sports? I was like, honestly, it's pro football, basketball, and baseball mostly. And I was like, it's mostly pro football, a little bit of basketball. We do a little bit. We have a baseball spinoff, like, but we don't fuck with college sports. Am I going around talking about how, the defenses in the Big 12 have changed over the last 20 years? No, I don't care. It's not interesting to me. I'm out.
Well, yeah, I think
about it all the time. Oh, what do you think? I don't watch college football, bro. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to admit I haven't watched the NBA since the 90s without qualifying it as, I don't like it anymore because they don't play defense. Okay. Now I know you're a casual and a liar. Just admit you don't fucking watch. And then that goes back to, we know Charles watches. We know Shaq watches. We know Kenny watches. We know Nick Wright watches. We know fucking Skip Bayless watches. We know Colin Cowherd watches. We know these guys watch. So then when you say something wrong, now you're just a straight up liar.
Again, I don't know when this conversation ends. if there's something new that they can grab on, or if everybody just dies. Right. It's like when our generation dies off, then does it end? Unless this whole Jordan myth, like you said, is passed down from generation to generation. Because it's not going anywhere. Look, I'll be curious when it comes to these discussions. I'll be real curious, hypothetically, if Mahomes gets like 2 more rings, and then we see, and he continues to put up the numbers that he has, and we continue to see like how that plays out with him and Brady, and it's just bizarre. It's like saying Saquon's good. OJ rushed for 2,000 yards.
It's like saying Saquon's good, but he's got a losing record in his career.
Yeah.
A big time losing record.
I think I saw in the comments, by the way. I think he just signed an extension, speaking of Saquon. There's all this NFL stuff happening, isn't there?
Well, they're starting to cut people, free up cap space.
He signed a 2-year extension, $36 million guaranteed. Possible $41 million. What are the New York Giants going to do at quarterback? Are you guys really going to get Aaron Rodgers or Shedeur Sanders? What are the New York Giants going to do?
Sadly, I wish I knew. I wish I had insight for you, Andy. I did send a shot across the river when the Matthew Stafford news was happening.
They went hard. I'm sure you read up on that.
Yeah,
right?
and I got we're trying. And they tried and they didn't get it. I have not sent a text into the night saying, is this Aaron Rodgers thing real? Because he's fucking washed and regularly causing locker room issues. Now I know. Colin Kaepernick didn't get signed because he caused locker room issues and blah 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 blah. But
do you think Aaron Rodgers is washed? Like we're using the term "washed." He's definitely not what he was.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
He's washed. Okay.
Here's the fact of the matter: when you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, there's a salary cap in football. So there's money, there's expectation. Am I saying Aaron Rodgers is washed, so he's no better than player X that's a mediocre quarterback? No, but there's a salary cap in the NFL. So
I think he knows he'd have to play at a reduced rate.
Yeah, but what's a reduced rate?
I don't know.
So what value are you getting out of Aaron Rodgers versus if you get quarterback X and have an offensive line and have a defensive line and have receivers and have all the things that you can spend that money on? Listen, is Darius Slay washed? Is James Bradbury washed? I don't know, but the Eagles just cut both of them and extended Saquon Barkley.
So here's my thing on the Giants. I think we talked about this last episode. They're saying,
let me ask you something. Do you think the Eagles cut Darius Slay if they're like, hey, we're going to cut you? And he's like, I will renegotiate my contract and play for the league minimum.
No.
So he may or may not be washed, but he's certainly washed at his number.
Yeah. I mean, what I was about to say when it comes to the Giants and the quarterback situation, it's like we have what's considered a weak draft class for quarterback. I just, you set your when you draft the wrong guy, you just set your franchise back so many years because that rookie deal is so important. And I know it's not easy to get that guy. There's not that many guys like a CJ Stroud who come right in and you're like, oh, we went 2 straight years winning playoff games with this guy. Like that's I know that's not easy. Or shit, Burrow's second year we make the Super Bowl. I just Something about, and again, you don't watch it. I don't watch it either. I don't watch college football really, but there's something about Shedeur Sanders I don't trust. I don't know. And I know that's I'm not giving you anything. I'm just I
Listen,
don't.
here's the thing. I don't watch college football. I did watch a bunch of Shedeur Sanders games. He didn't jump off the screen at me as being this guy that's like, oh my God, he's the next great NFL quarterback. I don't care that he was coached by his dad. I don't care that he didn't win anything in college. It's college football. You're one fucking guy. What I care about is that there is not some unanimous belief that this guy is the best quarterback in the draft. Is it fucking Cam Ward from Miami? Like, so there's not a consensus, and there's not a consensus in a weak draft. Everybody agrees that this is a weak quarterback draft. And it's not, there's a weak quarterback draft except player X.
Yeah.
You talk about the Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the whatever, like these guys came out in good quarterback drafts and then guys fell and blah, 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 blah. But like, to me, I'm like, as a New York Giants fan, and I've said this before about the end of Eli Manning's career, and I've said this before about the start of Daniel Jones' career, and I've said this about the fucking Philadelphia Eagles who won the fucking Super Bowl. You're judging guys poorly who are on shit teams and not protected. You're judging guys positively who are on elite teams, completely protected, have running backs, have weapons, have whatever. The eye test to me is Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, for that matter. Neither in the little bit I've watched of these guys, neither of them jump out to me as so good that they can overcome what they'll have to deal with.
Yeah.
So you have to build a team.
That's the truth.
You have to build a team, but your highest value draft spot, you're going to use on a guy that doesn't actually help you build a team. It just secures the most important position. And then he gets sacked 40 times next year. And we talk about how the Giants are clowns and they drafted Daniel Jones and they failed. And they drafted Shedeur Sanders and they failed. And don't forget, guys, they also failed by drafting Saquon Barkley, who now everybody agrees is the most valuable player in football that doesn't play the quarterback position. But don't forget, bust draft pick, failure draft pick.
Well, I think you nailed it when you said, can they overcome? Joe Burrow overcame the Bengals' ineptitude, at least for a bit. Josh Allen has overcome the Bills just sucking.
Jaden
Daniels, great example. It's like these are examples of guys that can that in itself, I think, is a very small group of guys who it's not just the skill set. To me, that is a mentality. That is a psyche. It's like, can you walk into the Washington Commanders? Definition of dumpster fire. And turn this franchise around. Dude does it in year one. That's a different mindset. And the truth is, I don't think guys have that until it plays out. Like, it's tough.
But it's not even about, yeah, there's a mindset of it, but there's also just the thing. None of the draft grades say that Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders or fucking Dart from Ole Miss or whoever the fuck else. None of them are saying it doesn't matter whether they can overcome it. You can't pass on this kid. Get him, figure it out. None of the draft grades say that about these guys. Now, listen, not all draft grades are right or wrong or whatever, but don't forget, Peyton Manning came in the league, led the league in interceptions, got sacked a bunch of times. They went 4-12. But they were like, you'll figure everything out. Just get Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So I don't watch enough college football, and I've seen some guys say Shedeur Sanders is that guy, and I've seen some people say he's absolutely not that guy. But no one said, I think Peyton Manning might come into this league and struggle for a little bit. He, at Tennessee, he wasn't great against the pass rush, and in big games he threw for like Peyton Manning's gonna be the best quarterback in the NFL in 5 years.
Yeah.
It's the perfect story. Pat Mahomes going to the fucking Chiefs. They could take. People were like, "Oh, he fell." Blah 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 blah. They could take that chance. They were picking fucking 20th or whatever, and traded up to pick 10th. They had a team.
Yeah, they just made the playoffs with Alex Smith. I mean, look. Again, you set your franchise back. Just the damage. I know it might not be easy, but you'd rather suck and wait for a better class, right? I know you sure as shit wouldn't be mad if the Giants suck ass again and then you end up with another Manning.
Right. Especially if they're building a fucking team. But also, again, if like the Jets are a perfect example. If the Jets were the Vikings or the Jets were the Seahawks, they wouldn't even have Aaron Rodgers because they would have drafted Geno Smith and it would have worked and he'd still be their quarterback. They would have drafted Sam Darnold and it would have worked and he'd still be their quarterback. They would have drafted Zach Wilson and maybe it would have worked and he'd still be their quarterback. But every single guy the Jets draft isn't good enough to overcome the Jets.
Yeah.
And then can go be a semi-decent quarterback somewhere else.
For sure.
When you have an offensive line and you have a running back and you have a defense, Sam Darnold doesn't see ghosts.
But I love that Matthew Stafford is returning and he's taking less money than what the Giants and the Raiders were offering him. We talked about, is he going to want more? I think obviously he answered that question. It was, hey, we have something here in LA. I got a great coach. I got a great GM. They clearly keep making the right moves. We were this close to making it to the NFC Championship game.
And he is the embodiment of what I just talked about. The Rams are like, we love you at this number.
Yeah.
Once your cost exceeds your value, there's no leeway. That's it. This is where we value you. If your cost exceeds that, we'll trade you to the Giants or the Raiders, and you can go get your money.
And your ass kicked.
Yeah. Or, you go and you get that money, and then we go, okay, well, we can come to this. Fine, I'll stay. Okay, great. Smart. We know what we're doing, and you know what you're doing. The question is, you got your Super Bowl, you got your stats, you got your accolades. You need $15 more million a year, or you want a chance to win?
Yeah. I think that's good for the game too. Like, just as a fan of the sport, I don't want to watch I don't want to watch Matthew Stafford on the Giants or the Raiders. I want to watch him on a team with a great coach. They've already won a chip, who has a chance to go far in the playoffs. Right? We've seen it. It's like I want to watch that.
Who gave the Eagles their best game of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Eagles fans suck my dick. I don't care what you think about me. If that game's played on a neutral field, I think the Rams probably win.
I mean, it's an interesting hypothetical there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Hypothetical, yeah. If my aunt had an uncle, my aunt had a cock, she'd be my uncle. Great. I'm just saying they gave you the best. They gave you the best game of the playoffs, and you were a run first team playing in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Well, and guess what? Congrats to the Eagles. That's the beauty of having home field in the playoffs.
Yeah, they earned it.
Yeah, they absolutely earned it.
Do we think Debo to the Commanders is anything? Now, Debo, He's been very injury prone. His breakout year was 2021. So
Yeah.
we're coming up on a few years removed from that. I think it's nice. You're given a potential weapon. You got a offensive guy like Kingsbury who seems to work much better as a coordinator than a head coach.
If he can stay on the field and be 75% of what he was, he's probably still worth the money that he's getting because you're giving your young quarterback a weapon. But at the same time, is if you can't stay on the field and you can't be 75% of what you are, now you're actually hurting. Like, again, just because he's more like, who's the dude on it? I mean, McLaurin was great for them this year, but let's Zacchaeus or whatever, just because you're more productive than Zacchaeus, you can't look at that as like, well, look, we upgraded at receiver. No, not if it costs you money. So he's going to have to be healthy, be committed, and be on the field and be 75% of what he was. And then you still might not be getting the value dollar per yard, but it does open up different things. He runs the ball, he catches the ball, he gets yards after catch. He doesn't have to earn his contract, but he has to earn most of it and then be a distraction for the defense and be somebody that you have to think about.
Yeah. I mean, look, he, again, had a great year a few years ago. He's a guy where if he's put in the right position, run, catch the ball, like he's versatile.
The problem is he's not.
They give him a 5th rounder, although they are paying him.
Right, they're paying him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the draft capital doesn't matter. The problem with Debo is this isn't Randy Moss. It wasn't Randy Moss to the Raiders. Oh, now he's shit. Let's get a distressed asset. He was on the Niners last year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's a good point.
Now, a lot of other guys were injured too, and no McCaffrey, and no blah, 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 and et cetera. And Brock Purdy's probably not that good. He's certainly not Jaden Daniels.
What would you do if you were the Bengals? They've tagged T. They said they're trying to get a long-term deal. Again, here we are. You got Jamar Chase wants a deal. You got your 3 best non-quarterback players. Your stud defensive end, your 2 wide receivers.
What do you mean? What would I do?
I mean, I'm not paying. I've said how many times have I said this? I would never pay T and Chase together.
How could you?
Well, I think they can make I think they can make it work. I mean, look, the Eagles made it work with their receivers and their quarterback and adding Saquon.
All right, cool. Go build the number 1 defense in football. You can absolutely make it work. There you go. Oh, that's all you gotta do.
Number 1 offense, you mean?
No, number 1 defense. Go build the number 1 defense in football, and then I got and then you can, if you can spend all that on offense and put the number 1 defense in football on the field, yeah, you can do it.
It's just wild to me. Again, we talk about the casualness of fans. You're a Bengals fan. You want to run back a 9-18 and didn't make the playoffs. A 9-18. You want to run back these guys? And again, like Burrow, he's taking a hit, in my opinion, for pushing so hard.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, LeBron, if there's a criticism of LeBron, why you want to play with Melo? Why you want to play with Chris Paul? Why you want to play with fucking Jared Dudley all the time?
LeBron had rings though, Joe. No offense.
Yeah, but my point is you can be, no joke, maybe the smartest basketball player on a basketball hyper-intelligence level ever, and still think, well, I want stars around me. And it's like, but why? Why do you want that? Why do you want Carmelo?
How can these guys be that ignorant though? Like if you look at the blueprint, we
Joe
literally
Burrow is productive with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
I know, but do you want to win a Super Bowl, dude?
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
he might-
everything. He might
He went
not.
to Ohio State and LSU. There wasn't a stop off at Yale in the way. He bought a fucking Batmobile. Joe Burrow's a great quarterback. I don't think he's a genius.
It's just like the blueprint is there, dude. You need to start at the offensive defensive line. We literally just saw
K-pop band fucking burglarized his house because he bought the Batmobile, but not the Bat Cave security system.
You know what gets lost in all that too, with the T. Higgins and all these guys, and nobody. I'm the only one. I'm like standing on the mountaintop. You know, some people call me the #1 Bengals hater. I got friends who are like, "You're the biggest hater." I was like, guys, no, I'm just real. Here's a quick stat. I literally have it in my phone. Here's just a quick stat. The #1 way to make it to the Super Bowl is to win your division. They're in the AFC North.
Yeah.
You better be good in the trenches, in the offensive and defensive line. Joe Burrow is 10-14 all time in division. Zach Taylor is 13-23. So again, building a team with offense doesn't bode well in your division, which then doesn't bode well to getting a good seed in the playoffs. When you think of these divisions, right, like an AFC North, you instantly think of the trenches. So good luck. Good luck with that. Sign them all, like you said. Sign them all, and then somehow have the #1 ranked defense.
Yeah, which is what the Eagles did, and good for them again. And spit in my face about it. Yeah, we can pay AJ Brown, and we can pay Devontae, and we can pay Saquon because we can put together a cheap defense to. And Jalen Hurts they paid too. Yeah.
I saw that a tush push special on Pornhub. Is Pornhub even still a thing?
I assume.
I think there was a bunch of underage. Like, I thought I saw something like a bunch of underage.
I feel like you would know if Pornhub got taken down.
I should know. You would think.
Well, let me ask you something, Andy. And I know your girl listens to Inside the NBA, but I don't think she like. When's the last time you went to a porn site?
Well, I got a 6-week-old and a 2-year-old. I'll be honest, there's not much porn time happening these days.
Right. No, I got that.
That's what I'm saying. So like,
you had a Pornhub hat and T-shirt. I'm not like you're not. It's not like you're like you have a like.
It's been a little while. I don't know. I don't know the last time I was at Pornhub. It's been a little while though. But I'm glad you reminded me. I literally owned a Pornhub hat and a T-shirt.
Yeah. I think at one point you lost the hat. We had to replace the hat, didn't we?
I drunkenly threw it out the window of a Here's a fun.
Austin?
In Austin, I threw it out. This is pre-Uber, a taxi window.
Oh, I remember.
And I don't remember. You told me the next day. You go, you don't have another Pornhub hat? You drunkenly threw it out the window. Dude, I had a dirtball DM me the other day, and he goes.
I'd love a black and white picture of that hat going out the window, like the Mickey Mantle throwing the batting helmet picture.
I had a dirtball DM me the other day, and he was talking. He was something like, "Yeah, dude, I got a buddy who doesn't really listen anymore, and we were talking about you." And I was like, Ruther has 2 kids now. And he's like, he could not comprehend. He's like, Ruther. He was like, Ruther from Savagetown? He's like, he lives in Ohio and has 2 kids? It's like, yeah, man.
Oh, I'm speaking of your 2 kids. I want to not to bring up the daycare thing again, but I was thinking about this.
Yeah, but you are.
I was thinking about this because I messaged Tug the other day. I basically have 3. I have 3 people on my wedding invite list that sit between yay and nay. They're just unresponded. And I texted Tug, but I was like,
it's literally me and Tug are on it.
You and Tug and Danny. actually, because Danny's too busy breaking down Shador Sanders Cam Ward film.
That's hilarious.
Tug was like, I'm doing a play on the East Coast. We have not decided whether or not we can make it yet, but like the reason I haven't replied is because I don't know. And then I was like, Ruther hasn't replied, but I was like, this daycare thing, don't they? Is it like a dog thing? Can you just do overnights and they just keep it and just come, like, just ship her off to daycare for the weekend?
That's hilarious.
Send them both for 3 days of overnights, and head out to Tahoe. I mean, if you could just give your 6-week-old daughter to strangers, surely you can give your 6-month daughter to strangers for a weekend.
Or it's more of, hey, daycare, cut me a deal that week so I have some money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's more of the issue with me. It's like, my thing, I'll be transparent with you. My thing has literally been like, what is our bank accounts going to look like when kid number 2 starts? Like, I know the number. It's a lot different than when it hits. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
See, my struggle as a dude.
You're talking to a guy who just got fired and is planning a wedding. So trust me, I'm on the.
So you're gonna agree with me, like dudes. I think this is where, I don't know how it is in your relationship, but like mine, like many men throughout the history of the world, is like my anxiety and all that always revolves around money, right? Whereas the woman is like, you're not emotionally supportive right now. And I want to be like, yeah, dude, I'm just trying to figure out that we have money for shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't you think like that's the history of like the man?
And honestly, I'd probably I'm probably the chick in most relationships in that regard. She's like, you're staying 2 extra days at your bachelor party, and I was like, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die going, I wish I had that $900 back and I didn't spend 2 extra days at my bachelor party.
No, that's a good point. Like you can't live like that either.
And she's like, well, we're trying to buy a house and whatever. I go, are we? That's
Oh yeah. So you are the chick, definitely. Because yeah, she sounds like me, of like trying to do this, you're trying to do, yeah.
And I was like, Warren Buffett says we shouldn't even buy a house, but what the fuck does he know?
Did he say that?
Oh yeah, that's been his thing for like a couple of years, which is like basically your investment these days is like buying a house in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah,
it's gonna go to your kids, which your parents did. They gave you guys their house.
Yeah,
it was an asset. This whole idea of we're gonna buy a house and then in 3 years we're gonna like flip it and we'll sell it and we'll get a bigger house and all that.
You can't with the interest rates. No,
he's like, your money. And our boy Tim Whitcomb, I just skied with him and whatever. He's had a condo in Santa Monica for at least 15 years, probably closer to 20. And I mean, think about California real estate.
It's insane.
It's insane. Think about being just east of Lincoln in Santa Monica. Think about how much that area has blown up in the last 15 years. He's like, obviously I will make money if I sell my apartment now, but not as much as I would have if I had just put that money in the S&P 500.
Well, that's there it is, right?
Which is what Warren Buffett says.
There it is.
You giving it to your kids, you will make way more. But if you are just trying to make money on it, take that money, put it in, and fucking rent.
Well, you know why all these fucking how many of these damn shows are on? Flip this house, and people get caught up in that, and
then the Airbnb thing and the VRBO thing, and then they've shut that. They've crippled that a little bit, and then shitty Airbnb owners with their fucking cleaning fees have fucking, there's bad press about all that shit. It's like, it's just not what. There's been a couple of different things, but you want to talk about propaganda. I mean, my girl is obsessed with buying something because that's how you own something in this world and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's what the bank wants you to think.
Yeah. Well,
the bank wants you to think you ain't shit unless you own a house. Give us all your money. Technically, we own your house. You rent it from us instead of a landlord. Let's not talk about it. Oh, but also if your water heater goes, we don't own your house anymore. You own your house. Get fucked.
Ain't that the truth, man? Yeah. That real quick is something that's very interesting, the owning your house. And maybe it's because I became a homeowner later. I always felt like how you're saying of like everybody goes crazy and I'm like, but I still get my statements on what I pay. I don't own it. The bank does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying back with interest.
Now listen, am I out here standing for making landlords richer? No. Right? That's not what I'm out here standing for either. But my point is people put themselves in a bad situation just to own.
100%. That's why the term house poor exists.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Trust me.
You're buying a house in cash. Listen, we have 2 dogs.
Yeah, different story.
We have 2 dogs.
Buying cash.
We just gave up a dog for, that we were fostering. Now looks like, sadly, that dog might be coming back to us. Do I have to worry about like what my landlord's going to say about the fact that I have 3 dogs and then basically being stuck here because I have 3 dogs? Because I'm at the whim. I have to find a landlord that wants to rent to me with 3 dogs and blah, blah, blah. There are benefits to owning a house. The benefits are not the financial ones that our boomer parents got by buying a house.
No.
But all they want to do, again, our boomer parents are the Michael Jordan stands of the homeowner industry. And they're like, back in my day, you bought a house for $200,000 in Westchester, New York. And then you raise your family there and then you send it for $2 million. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, Dad, what a fucking great idea.
I know. No, it's true. And look, I'm still pretty new to this. There's a lot of factors, but the market's still insane, but so is the interest rate. So people also get tricked into like, oh, dude, I can make a quick $100,000 in 5 years profit. And you're like, yeah, the real estate agent gets a cut. It's like the fucking mob. Everybody gets some. They get a cut. Property taxes. There's interest rates on the new property you buy, which are just.
Imagine doing improvements on your house right now and adding a bathroom or adding a whatever and permits. Oh, septic, the fucking good luck with the fucking all that shit. The whole system. Listen, again, I'm not out here standing for landlords, but the banks and the landlords, they're in cahoots. And as George Carlin would say, there's a big club and you're not in it.
Well, let's wrap it up on that note. 310-359-8365. That's the hotline, which I don't know if we're going to have to change. I posted this. Skype is going under. I posted this on Twitter.
Skype is going out of business?
Yeah. So I guess Microsoft owns Skype. They're trying to push everybody to Teams. So I don't even know how that's going to affect the hotline.
Huh. Interesting.
Keep it. But I even got an email being like, this number ain't going to be a thing. Now, I don't know if that's going to. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know in about a month or 2.
Let me throw this out there as a suggestion, since I didn't know this was a thing, but I think there's a couple of different services where like
you can get it free in Google.
Yeah, but also you can get like FaceTime video kind of messages where like maybe maybe the hotline is now you weirdo mugs coming on the show.
You want to be seeing dirtballs mugs on this?
I want to, because some of the opinions we get, I'm like, but to steal a fucking phrase from Jay Moore, put your name on it, put your face on it. You're gonna call and tell me that fucking you're glad the Titans fired Mike Vrabel. Put your face on it.
Yo, my man is unalive, I think, at this point.
Speaking of Jay Moore, we had on, well, first of all, the Ari Spears episode of More Stories dropped today. That's super fun. Also, we just recorded one with Ike Barinholtz, who's comedic supporting actor. You guys seen a lot of things, but he's also the executive producer of the new Running Point Kate Hudson Netflix show. I don't know if you've seen this as you've been browsing Netflix, Andy. I watched it as a like, I don't want to say as a favor, but as a like, I should watch this.
Brittany's watching it right now.
It's good. I actually think it's pretty good.
It's like a spinoff of the Lakers, right?
It's like it's basically the Genie Bus.
Genie Bus. That's what she was
and
saying.
and it's pretty good. It's like I watched it. It's edgier than I thought it would be. It's good. I like it. I recommend it, and I'm not just saying that because I would never just say that. So check it out.
Interesting. Cool. If you guys want bowel movement updates, check out the Andy Ruther show on all the talk of the town. I don't think we'll have any of those this week. Yeah, at Andy Ruther on all social media. That's about it.
At Joe Praying on all social media. Come to the Athens Comedy Fest first weekend in May.
Cool. Thanks for listening.
And if you're in the greater Salt Lake City, Park City, whatever, I'll be there next weekend for my bachelor party. Are you a skier? Are you a snowboarder? Are you a dirtball in Utah that'll be there skiing or snowboarding? Hit me up. It's gonna be a party. It's lit, fam.
Joe has he's lined it up perfectly. He's doing his bachelor party at the same time that the Park City has another gay ski weekend. So
is it? That'd be.
That's just
so happy.
That's the only time I've been there. Oh my god, it'd be hilarious.
Tony Calabri just sent a picture of Mikey, the famous Mikey upside down, naked, falling down his stairs picture to the entire bachelor party group chat, and was like, "Just everybody should just prepare for Mikey next weekend." And Mikey replied, "It's not gay if you don't come."
Unbelievable. On that note, we're getting out of here. You guys have a great week, and as always, stay dirty.